Movie guys love movies. Any comments about this week's movies being overshadowed by exciting...
X-Men Days of Future Past trailer now online. Hashtag X-Men. Captain America the Winter Soldier trailer also released. Thor the Dark World opens next week, baby. Hashtag Thor Dark World.
Are purely for entertainment purposes only.
Baba Booey!
Nice addition.
And no doubt we have seen all three of those trailers. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's
I
so
have
exciting.
not seen. What's the third
We
one?
didn't show you X-Men, did we?
Thor?
I didn't
Dark
see
World?
X-Men. I didn't see X-Men.
Oh.
I saw Captain America and I saw Thor.
Yeah.
I did not see X-Men.
It just overshadows everything. Like, I'm not interested in anything this week. I mean, I am to the degree that we can do a show about it, but compared to those three things, come on.
I'm not sure I'm sold on Days of Future Past. It sounds a little too clever.
Oh, yes?
Like a
Too
senior,
clever?
like a high school senior thesis that somebody came up with. They came up with a poem called "Days of Future Past."
It also sounds like it could be a prom theme as well.
There you go.
Absolutely. Fish under the sea.
That's what it is.
Night in the Orient.
Yeah, it sounds like a very serious paper on the peak oil, right? Days of Future Past.
I look forward to Jean Grey and Wolverine being voted the King and Queen of the It'll be exciting. Well, welcome to the Movie Showcast, everybody, part of the vast and sprawling Movie Guys empire. There's only two things I hate in this world: people who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch. You've reached ground zero for all things movies and comedy. We bring the two together right here on our show every week with rants, sketches, previews, characters, jokes, bits, special guests, and more. You can expect that in the next hour or so as we broadcast from the Admirals Club with thousands of satisfied travelers flying overhead. Catch us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Search The Movie Showcast or The Movie Guys, and we come right up. And don't forget, we're also available on badtomato.fm radio at wbad.net. Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern. And as always, please subscribe wherever possible, tell your friends, share and like posts, etc. My name is Paul Preston. I'm your host here as ever with Lee Caius, Adam Witt, and Karen Volpe. And we are joined for the whole show by self-described actor, improviser, vocalist, writer, and Native American Ken Barnard.
Ken Barnard.
Hi-yo, hi-yo.
It's very, very Dan Snyder of you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Today we'll preview, as we always do, what's coming up in theaters. That includes Han Solo playing Ben Kenobi to Hugo in Ender's Game. Last Vegas, featuring 60 and 70-year-old guys too lazy to escape from maximum security prisons.
Who are you? To show them how to throw the discus. Get to the chopper!
Those lines will not be in Last
To show them how to do the discus.
And later in the show,
I'm not gonna dress it up. Turkeys are dumb. Really dumb.
You don't get it! They're fattening us up to eat us!
Hey, corn!
See you later, Reggie!
Is that X-Men Days of Future Past?
Yes.
no, but you can see why we're excited about
Yes.
X-Men Days
That
of Future
explains
Past.
it.
I take umbrage with that clip.
Umbrage.
That's Freebird, by the way. Freebirds. Yes.
Because Benjamin Franklin
Yes.
lobbied for the turkey to be the national bird.
National mascot.
Because it is both smart, it is resilient, it is tough.
Well
it is
camouflaged.
Well camouflaged. These are all things that the eagle is not. Have you eaten eagle? Tastes horrible.
No.
Horrible. Horrible tasting bird.
No, I have 10,000
Is
a
it-
plate. That's why.
Lee, is it a little gamey?
You can really taste the PCB.
Now, speaking of well camouflaged, we're
Oh,
all in
yes.
costume today.
Yes.
We are.
Celebrating Halloween. And I want to start with Ken in the middle here because he has the camouflage hat and the military-esque duds, and you are?
I'm Teddy Roosevelt, our nation's somethingest president.
Yes.
TR didn't care about the numbers, you know. He was more of a people person.
It's the most somethingness.
Did he pardon turkeys or do anything like that? Do you know?
No, I don't know. I mean, he was a cowboy kind of thing. I didn't do a lot of research. I just wanted
Excellent.
to incorporate my mustache into a costume.
There you
This
go.
was just where
Hey,
it came to.
Ken, I got a little something for you. You can throw at the babes when they're asking you about your costume, or whoever you need to throw it at. The wall, our Great Wall of China there with the heads on it. What's that thing called? Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. The Great Wall of China with the heads on it.
Our thing with the bricks.
I'm totally
They
using that at my
have-
next party.
Superman villains destroyed both those things. I can understand confusing
Thank
them.
you.
Yeah.
So Roosevelt, he was put up there not only because he was a conservationist and yada, 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 but because the designers wanted a guy up there with glasses.
Is that right?
throat. Yes, I read. I didn't
Now
read
we
that.
know.
I watched that happen at me from TV on a special one time.
You throw that out, Ken, and the chicks will be like,
Yeah.
They won't know that fact.
Architectural or sculpture tidbit. I like that.
They liked a little dimension. They wanted something different, so they picked you. So congratulations.
I like
it
bits
is an
of
honor.
tid.
It is an honor.
And we'll put you as a. We'll pretend it's a movie costume because John Alexander, of course, in the film Arsenic and Old Lace with Cary Grant, played the character who thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt and dressed like Teddy Roosevelt all day.
And Robin Williams played Teddy Roosevelt, also in Night in the Museum.
There you go.
Oh.
More
at me
people have seen. And by
throwing
people,
that
I mean
shit down.
children.
That's a movie reference, right?
Somebody played him in The
you.
Butler, I bet, right? Is that Butler still buttling?
right.
When
No,
Roosevelt
you
was
didn't
in-
bubble
Oh,
around the
okay.
turn of the century.
He
Who else do we
wasn't
have
that
around
old.
the table here?
I was running late, so I threw in something I had. So I am the brunette version of Sandra Dee from Greece.
Ah,
Not Sandra
you
Dee.
look very Grease.
Her name is Sandy, though. And her last
Oh.
name is what?
Look at me,
Dabrowski.
I'm Sandra
Wait a minute.
Dee.
Dombrowski? I live next to the Dombrowskis. I am
Was
shitting
she
you negative.
hot? And did she wear some black leather pants?
Mrs. Dombrowski was not hot.
Oh.
She was 70 plus years of age. She had a little Yorkie that was eaten by the Alaskan Malamute down the street.
It doesn't sound sexy.
There was
name.
nothing hot
Not
about
attacked
that.
and killed, but
This is-
just eaten whole.
She was walking her dog out to the mailbox one evening, and the dog was literally, like softball
Well, couldn't that
size.
bitch throw herself on top of the dog and do something about it?
Am I pronouncing that right? Correctly, Ken? Alaskan Malamute.
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 Yeah, Malamute.
This
That's the
huge.
politically correct.
I don't
This
know.
huge.
We all know Teddy Roosevelt's affection for
Teddy
Malamute.
Roosevelt.
I have a Chihuahua mix, so I have
That's
no
why I
idea,
asked
but I'll just shake my
I thought
head.
Malamute was a cookie. What do we keep going?
But apparently,
Oh,
these
Girl
dogs
Scouts sell 'em.
are great hunters and extremely stealthy. And
No. He's not such a great hunter if he's attacking a 2-pound dog.
Well, on a
wasn't
on a
on a
string.
leash,
yeah,
on a
right.
string. Nice.
Dog on a
there wasn't
string.
a lot of cunning behind it, but I will say
Have to
that
tracked it down, yes.
apparently it was so quiet that Mrs. Dombrowski didn't even realize it, and she literally looked down to find the dog in the mouth of the other dog, just done. That was
Probably just
snack
took
time.
one.
Yep. Didn't even know
I think
the dog.
she
snapping.
may have been medicated in some way.
Well, again,
perhaps.
she was 80, so
I thought she was 70.
She may have
She's
not
getting
heard the-
older during the story.
you're ruining the story, Karen.
Wait, and now who are you supposed to be?
I am very proudly
And I know who you are, but tell the folks at home.
the entire cast of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes, for you,
you.
listening to this on iTunes, go to the YouTube.
Yeah, go to our
and
YouTube page.
Check out
for
his
this one at
costume. It's
least.
cool.
Now, I was talking to
And
On our
Jamie
Jamie.
Roosevelt.
Facebook page, you'll see a picture.
I was talking to Jamie about this earlier. I came up with this costume in 1998.
Have you washed it since?
I have not. You'll
Was
see
it
that there are
5?
stains. Say again?
When you were 5?
Well, thank you, Adam. Yes.
right.
I had to borrow the scissors from my mother. And I had this costume in 1998, took it out, and it was a huge hit. And then it went into storage until just last year I brought it back out. And it's one of those costumes that either you get it and absolutely love it and think it's a genius.
Yeah, for
or-
anybody who is listening, though, and doesn't want to go take a look at it, he has got the jumper on, the jumpsuit, and then a cardboard crow and Tom Servo in your back, right?
The silhouettes.
The silhouettes.
Silhouettes.
I am, for the
Very smart.
aficionado, I am Mike Nelson. I am not
'Cause
Joel
you're
Hodgson because I'm wearing
green.
the green, exactly, the green jumpsuit.
Okay, ooh, so
And Adam, you are?
specific.
I am my own creation. I shot a short a couple years ago with you and Lee, if you remember, and this is one of
He
these.
probably remembers.
This is one of these serial killers who is stalking another serial killer, and I just call him Mr. Smiley Face because it's a mask I made myself.
It's really great.
You made that?
It looks pretty creepy. Well, I found the mask and then I sort of stained it and all the sort of
Oh.
crappiness, but it is a standard, like
Don't do that. Don't
a
talk
Mardi,
to me like that.
A Mardi
That's
Gras mask.
The creepiest thing.
it's
Well,
really
I can't keep it on because otherwise it gets in the way of
And-
the microphone.
But it wasn't too
Also, it's
bad. It was,
creepy.
it's not. It could be worse as far as like
it's a
preventing
happy.
you from talking.
Oh,
That's true.
Yeah.
But I can't wrap it around my head and the headphones. It becomes kind of a mess.
But that's the big deal nowadays,
I can
right?
hold it like
Your
this.
Next, The Strangers, The Purge. It's
Yeah.
masks. Masks are the deal, right?
And the parody of Wes Anderson, the Midnight Coterie of. I mean,
That
you don't
was
have to
amazing.
hit that cue now. You can wait till on the show, but.
Yeah.
But that also hits the mask thing, and actually the mask kind of looks like Mr. Smiley here, doesn't it?
It's good, yeah.
Now I want to talk about that. The Midnight Coterie of Sinister Invaders is that spoof is so dead on.
It's awesome.
because I watched that and then I went to the actual trailer for Wes Anderson's new movie.
Oh, it's the only thing they're missing is a train.
It's
Only thing.
It's not even a spoof. It turns out the SNL is literally the movie that Wes Anderson would have
That's
made.
interesting
See, I know my
Interesting.
movie horror directors. But that's literally the movie Wes Anderson would have made if he was making a slasher.
I like that music.
Midnight coterie of sinister intruders, starring Owen Wilson as a man in danger.
Wow, what the heck? There's a bunch of crazy people standing in our yard. Hey, hon, I think we're about to get murdered.
That is brilliant.
And now everybody's doing Owen Wilson, right?
Yeah, now you can do an Owen Wilson.
heck?
Because
I'll tell you everything I loved about that sketch. And if you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu from last week's SNL episode. First of all, that Edward Norton is being entertaining and most of all funny.
Really
Yeah.
funny.
Good on you. And he kind of needs that. And secondly, I mean, to spoof Wes Anderson, good on Saturday Night Live because they could have picked a bigger, broader thing to spoof, so everybody gets it. But you kind of got to know your shit to get this comedy. And I thought it was great on them to pick something to pinpoint something so specific and spoof
I think
it.
it's probably starting to become a little more mainstream in the sense that hipsters are so cool now, and his films have a very hipster quality.
they are
I
pretty
believe.
hipster cinema, aren't
So
they?
it's kind of like
He's a pre-hipster because he
Yeah,
started
he
doing that
started
shit
doing
in
it before.
97, yeah.
What must it be like to have invented
A style.
a complete style?
Yeah.
I mean, there is.
he just made whatever image was in his head, he was able to bring that out and make that into a world, and that's pretty cool.
I wonder if it's easy, not necessarily easy, but I wonder if it's easy for him to make movies because he knows exactly how to make them.
Well,
he doesn't have to worry about doing something
probably.
different.
Interesting thing about him that I'm very happy about that I think M. Night Shyamalan did the wrong version of, which is to listen to his critics and change course. So M. Night Shyamalan heard everybody was like, oh, M. Night Shyamalan's trying to surprise with his ending. And he's like, no, then I won't ever do that again. And then everybody hated him. Whereas Wes Anderson, people are making this parody or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I know.
That's
Whatever.
exactly
I'm
right.
just going to do it again. I don't
That's the
care.
movie I make.
And it's completely original every time, even though he might be ripping off himself, I guess. But
Shyamalan's just a director for hire now, pretty much.
yeah. And I would hate to see Wes Anderson be just a director for hire doing Captain America 3, even though his would be awesome.
What I think is kind of neat in this, you actually just brought this to make it a little clearer for me, is when I was taking art class in school, they said that a lot of times if you can understand the art you want to produce in your head whenever you're doing like drawings and paintings, it's a lot easier to make that happen on the canvas. And so I only thought of that in the dimension of painting or writing or something. But you're right. If you can see the movie in your head, all you got to do is just make it.
Make that.
That's
The
pretty
trailer
amazing.
for Wes Anderson's new film, The Grand
This is from The
Budapest
Onion.
Hotel, is out, and fans are delighted to see the Rushmore director
Listen to this.
reunite with his cast of go-to things. Anderson spoke to Rolling
Things.
Stone about directing the beloved mainstays, saying, quote, I'm so excited to be working with old elevators, rotary phones, taxidermied animals, and outmoded military hats again. These items feel like my family. It's great to see this stuff back together.
It really is, Carly. Anderson regulars like handwritten notes, antique bathtubs, dingy fur coats, Renaissance-style portraits, and vintage luggage are also set to return.
That's awesome.
As Adam said, that's The Onion.
That's
Always,
The Onion.
Always
Always
funny.
funny.
You got me on that
Always
one.
funny.
I really thought that was like an Entertainment
Oh, they
Tonight
make it
piece.
sound. They nail that format.
And I was about to say, that is absolutely not the music you should be playing when you're doing Wes Anderson
All right,
review.
now, speaking of entertainment tonight, we should get on to our first preview. And I should
Sure.
say quickly, I'm Indiana Jones, which, when Ken arrived, they really are very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
Outside of a leather jacket,
Well,
a brown shirt,
Indiana
the
Jones was in the
bag of
20s too,
stuff.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was a character from
yeah,
the 20s or 30s,
30s.
yeah. So there's actually probably quite a bit of influence from Teddy Roosevelt and rugged outdoorsmen.
Ken, I'd like to thank you for the dam.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank
my
you for
greatest,
that.
my greatest pleasure. My greatest pleasure. Hope it holds up.
So does everybody living downstream.
All right, well, let's get to our first film of the November 1st weekend, a documentary about the Republicans' attempt to block affordable health care for all. Ender's Game. Adam. Oh, what am I doing? That's a crazy cue.
I was awesome.
I jumped ahead to the stuff from...
Yeah,
what
we
was it? Here
we
go.
brought that up right away. Screwed up the order of those.
Actually, while I was switching around those cues, I think I was wrong about that. All right, Ender's Game is actually a science fiction film based on the book Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, in which the Earth is invaded by the Formics, a Formica-based life form able to hide in plain sight for years when people can't tell the difference between them and dull marble.
And we would be remiss to mention Orson Scott Card and not mention the controversy surrounding his statements on homosexuality. The Ender's Game author was quoted as saying any government that approved same-sex marriage would be the mortal enemy of his, and that homosexuals first arrived in the world through rape or molestation or abuse.
Yet, he was also quoted as writing in Ender's Game, I think it's impossible to really understand somebody, what they want, what they believe, and not love them the way they love themselves. So, Not only is he a douchebag, but also a hypocrite.
Nice.
But I think we all care about one thing. Is the movie good?
Right.
But there's a group who feel they're qualified to talk about deep matters in film, and they're also available on our sister station, the movie Showcast 2, The Deuce. We're talking, of course, about our snobby, arrogant counterparts, the movie scholars.
Yeah, I wonder what they have to say about
Remember
this.
those guys, right? Every time there's some
It
lofty
always
thing
smells
they
like
say.
cheese when you go in their studio.
Right. Brie, if I'm not mistaken.
Either bad meat or good cheese, right?
Let's tune into their station for a second. I think we can catch a glimpse of them talking about this.
Maybe this will help
controversy.
form our discussion.
Yeah, here we go. If we can find them.
Knowing the author's predilection for bringing homosexuality into his works, I would say that the invasion by the aliens represents our inability to accept homosexuality.
Unfortunately, I think there is a much more violent metaphor at hand here. That, of course, being the Earth representing the hapless college co-ed who innocently flirts with disaster, only to have the unwanted advances.
They just prattle on, don't they? Let's keep going. Maybe they'll come up with something.
Should not listen to that while driving. It is really
your own life. I mean, some people have bonds because of other men putting those bonds on you. Sometimes you have your own intellectual bonds.
At least they're in agreement.
I just want to interrupt for a second and make sure you're still talking about Ender's Game.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, good, because what I really think is about is... enough of those guys. Lord. Absolutely.
You know, people get
Nothing to do with healthcare.
people can get into a car accident listening to that because it puts you in a trance.
Yeah, exactly.
Warning label on that show.
Yeah,
All right, back to Ender's Game, the non-deuce version. Okay, in the movie, Ben Kingsley plays Mazer Rackham.
Slab bulkhead.
Bridge, large meat.
Punt, speed chunk. Butch, deadlift.
Who was victorious in leading the military during the initial invasion. But now he's as old as Ben Kingsley, and thus it is up to Hiram Graff.
Punch, rock groin.
Buck, plank chest.
Stump, junkman.
Dirk, hard pack.
Rip, steak face. Slate, slab rock.
Broad, bone meal.
Played by Harrison Ford to train a new military leader, the One.
You will be the one.
I hope they can pick him out of all the other The Ones, you know?
He's the one.
You are the chosen one!
I mean, you could even get Jet Li by mistake. The One? The movie, The One?
They develop a video game that trains young soldiers to fight the alien fleet after they realized video games were the only way to get a teenager's attention. Also, the skills needed to fight the Formics just happened to be stealing cars, screwing prostitutes, and shooting crime lords.
Oh, that's the GTA 5. When a brilliant young boy named Ender Wiggin excels at playing video games, he rises the ranks to command the military at 16. Rackham
Damn near killed him.
and Graff come to an ideological clash over whether Ender should be allowed to kill the invaders.
Now, the basis of this clash isn't revealed in the trailer, which is a mystery to me because it's the hook that I thought would get people to see it. But if you've read the book or are resourceful enough to have a roommate who has, you'd know that Ender is never told that he's killing real living things.
Ender just thinks it's a game in a metaphor for drone warfare that no grad student will miss.
It's like a game of Risk getting out of hand as this young boy is tricked into playing an actual game of war, which is how most people end up playing the real game of Risk. They're tricked into it.
Yes, old people want young people to save the world. It's not always the case when you've made a mess that you can't clean up.
Adam, I'm sure the movie scholars haven't missed the drone analogy.
Oh, I'm sure they haven't. Gavin Hood directs Asa Butterfield in this sci-fi... Actually, the names of the cast and the crew of Ender's Game sound like they could be the starting defensive line for the '64 Green Bay Packers. Most exciting is that these names give us another chance to introduce a cast of a movie as if they're an old NFL Films Presents video.
Outer space. A dangerous expanse of mystery where only the strongest survive. Amidst this savage and threatening landscape comes a formidable band of actors who meet the challenges of an unknown world head-on. Your Ender's Game starting a lineup.
Asa Butterfield.
Gavin Hood.
Ben Kingsley.
Harrison Ford.
Steve Jablonski.
Karen, you want to do it?
Okay.
Viola Davis.
All right.
That's awesome. Well, I could totally see Lee playing timpani on that.
It's all about the music. We almost played this.
Let's try it again.
Asa Butterfield.
Gavin Hood.
Ben Kingsley.
Harrison Ford.
Steve Jablonski.
Viola Davis.
And finally,
I sound like a transvestite.
we get Harrison Ford returning to Sci-Fi. The only problem is it's this Harrison Ford returning to Sci-Fi. Oh well, as long as he points angrily, I'll be into it.
You find this man.
There we go.
You find this man.
All right, there you go. That's Ender's Game.
Ender's
Game.
Will it win the weekend?
No.
Pretty big production.
As
What
long
else
as
is
it has
on?
no competition, does it?
Well, it's got these other movies, and will Bad Grandpa hang on? Will Gravity still have life? I mean, Bad Grandpa beat Gravity.
About
so
the
that's probably
counselor.
done.
No, we've got the other two coming out, right?
Did that come out?
Well, it's got to beat Freebirds or.
Can kids go see this? Because it's the Freebirds is for the
Las
kids
Vegas.
this weekend.
Oh yeah, kids can go see this. They're the ones
Old
shooting
people go to
everything
Las
up.
Vegas. Young kids go to Freebirds, and then everyone else goes to this. So this serves more of the
do well.
populace, right?
Meet you in the lobby, sweetie.
Yeah, it might be one of those. Now, these homophobic remarks have got everyone in the cast and crew apologizing. Well, or at least commenting. They can't avoid it, it seems. So, Robert Orsi, the writer, Gavin Hood said some stuff. Harrison Ford at Comic-Con, when I was there, said, that the novel says all these great things about humanity, so don't let one comment or something else spoil it. It's such a shame because...
But is it just one comment? Has the man said other things?
Harrison Ford.
No,
Because he doesn't say much.
No, not Harrison Ford.
No, this guy, I mean, he's Mormon. He's like a great-great-great-grandson or something like that of Brigham Young.
So he's got credentials.
He's pretty...
I mean, they're all
what's the word?
related, the Mormons.
Everybody's hardcore.
Yeah.
I think sometimes this is going to be
intolerant.
I'll probably get shot later, but I think intolerant. No, I think sometimes when people are so obviously, as we know, very religious, and they're like, no, it must only be one way. It's because they are afraid of their own homosexuality. So sometimes,
how often does that come out in politics?
Exactly. So I'm wondering if maybe that might be part of the.
It says here that he believes that homosexuality first arrived in the world through rape, molestation, or abuse. I don't think he understands how rape, molestation, or abuse works.
Yeah, it's not like you said, I'm going to participate with you homosexually.
If you rape somebody, they will give birth to a gay person?
He's spewing talking points. Yeah.
I never knew this about. I mean, I only know this about him because people have told me this about him. I've never read the book. I don't. I only know it because it's a hot topic. It's not like I.
Oh, I love that store.
But like I said, we're concerned if the movie's good, right? I mean, I'll go. See
I want to go see it for Harrison Ford just to watch him do kind of anything.
Just to watch him point angrily.
I know. I watch him do anything.
Get off my Ender's Game. That's all I,
Get off my
all I could
spaceship.
hear in my mind when I was watching the trailer.
Yeah, he was my favorite growing up. Still probably my favorite all time, but he hasn't been in anything that's been huge lately. I mean, Crystal Skull made a lot of money, my least favorite film of all time. But so I'm dying for him to be in a huge hit that I really enjoy, and hopefully that happens with this. We'll see.
It's like Mel Gibson. I still have the synapses that lock in and say, I love Harrison Ford, even though I haven't loved Harrison Ford since Air Force One or something.
Clear and Present Danger, that's like 20 years. Ouch.
But they mentioned Mel Gibson's in Expendables 3. I'm in. I love that guy.
Totally.
Oh, wait, I should
And
love that
Harrison
guy at
Ford.
all. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Expendables 3 will be the greatest thing ever.
Are they both really slated to be in that?
They are.
Holy hell.
I mean, that's taking a wide swath of what action stars, because now they're down to like quality action stars of the 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
Everybody wants a piece.
Everyone wants a piece of the HF.
Yeah. But I hope it's good, and then, I don't know if it's aimed towards kids, like we were talking about demographics.
Ender's Game, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a big adult book that it's based on, or because the star is a kid, sometimes you can get confused.
It looks like a kid's thing to me, but...
Is it a kid's thing, Jamie? Nope.
No.
Really?
Jamie says no. Don't go, children.
Then it's true.
It's true.
Well, then you can expect a bomb. If this can't appeal to kids in any way, and it's about like sci-fi and stuff, then that's a bad move, right? You got to make this PG and about space and about Asa Butterfield, I guess. I don't know.
Was there going to be space sex? Is there any sex in it?
Sex. Oh, I hope so.
Sex Wars. I used to own that porno. Sex Wars.
That was the thing.
Did they float
Yeah.
in space?
No. And they had really weird robots that farted and stuff. It was really kind of gross.
I don't think that was a
Old
porno,
pornos just
Adam.
like gross places to hang out, don't they? Just like, ugh.
It's no Hardware Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Hardware Wars was the shit. All right, now the names of some of these characters from Ender's Game certainly rank amongst the goofiest in sci-fi history. So as we did with Transformers and Avatar, we are now going to permanently enshrine these names in the International Order of Ornate Sci-Fi and Fantasy Names. And Ken, you remember the order, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Because we can only do this. We can only do this among other order members. It's a very sacred thing. So let's begin the ceremony. In the name of Harold Bosk and Gary Dengar, those were their names. Okay. We submit the following names to be preserved in history as some of the goddamn wackiest names ever thought up by an author. Behold, from Ender's Game, Mazer Rackham, Hiram Graff, Ender Wiggin, Bonzo Madrid, and Dink Minker.
We speak your names.
It's Dink Meeker. It was so weird I couldn't even say it right. But they will forever join the legends that have come before them. Like Max Headroom.
We
speak your names.
Bib Fortuna.
We speak your names.
Severus Snape.
We speak your names.
Legolas Greenleaf.
We speak your names. Effie Trinket.
We speak your names. Bellatrix Lestrange.
We speak your names.
Snake Plissken.
We speak your names.
Zephram Cochrane.
We speak your names.
Sam Witwicky.
We speak your names. Zoe Saldana.
We
speak your names.
Regis Philbin.
We speak your names.
Okay, guys, that's...
Sigourney Weaver.
We speak your names.
Guys, those are actually...
Lambeau Field.
We speak your names.
Max von Sydow.
Okay.
We speak your names. Guys.
Sorry, Paul.
Guys, those are...
We're undermining the solemnity of this occasion. Let's just let me immortalize one more name, okay?
Okay, is it short?
No. Asa Maxwell Thornton Farr Butterfield.
We speak your names.
All right, there you go. Congratulations.
It's quite the class this year. It's
Yeah.
As if, Asa Butterfield weren't an odd enough
That's
name.
his full real name.
Asa Maxwell.
Is that true?
You know, that's
Maxwell
because
Farr
this is
Butterfield.
probably his porno name, because Thornton is the street I grew up on.
Ender's
Farr,
Game, right, guys? When's that coming out in a couple weeks?
All right, on to the next film. The Cialis party that Harrison Ford apparently was not invited to. It's Las Vegas, Karen.
Yes.
A pair of aging stick-up men try to get the old gang back together for one last hurrah before one of the guys takes his last assignment to kill his comrade. Oh, wait.
Huh?
Sorry.
What?
sorry, Paul.
No, that's the plot of Stand Up Guys from February. Sorry, Karen, go ahead and read the plot for Las
Also old
Vegas.
people.
All right, sure, Paul. Let's see here. Three senior citizens who live on the dole and share a small apartment in Brooklyn decide to organize a bank robbery at the Aladdin Casino/Hotel. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is the plot of 1979's Going in Style.
I thought that
Also
sounded familiar.
old
Yeah.
guys.
Martin
Yes.
Brest film. Of
course.
Right. Okay, well, here it is. I got it. Two elderly gangsters are released from prison only to have trouble
No,
fitting in.
wait. It's about 4 aging astronauts who are called upon to rescue a fallen
Wait, I
satellite.
think I got it. That was Tough Guys and Space Cowboys, by the way. So what are we
okay.
saying? I guess we're saying every generation has its old guys on an adventure movie.
Yeah.
And Las Vegas is the newest to be aimed at a demographic that doesn't go to movies. Old men.
Las Vegas stars Michael Douglas, Robert De Niro, Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Kline, cast as men their age, who refuse to act their age for one last bachelor party in Las Vegas.
Oh, my.
So you can expect puking, strip clubs, and Mary Steenburgen's tits.
Michael Douglas is cast as a man marrying a woman half his age by the
What?
Obvious Choice casting agency.
Yes.
The same people who cast Robert De Niro as the tough-talking one, Kevin Kline as the smartass, and Morgan Freeman as the one with the nice voice.
We're pretty sure they just wander around Vegas trying to redeem their rain check ticket for the Don Rickles at the Riviera show in 1968.
Hey, dummy.
Hey there, Hockey Puck.
Hockey Puck.
Hockey Puck.
They find that Vegas has changed, and that the Rat Pack has been replaced by Carrot Top, Donnie and Marie, Cirque du Soleil, and a Dolly Parton impersonator, making for the worst Ocean's 14 imaginable.
After a brief dementia scare when they're unable to find the sands, the crew hits all the bachelor party sites, including a strip club where they play "Is That Your Hip Grinding or Is That Mine?" with the dancers, until they're surprised to find that $5 doesn't get you a private room anymore and are kicked out.
They are rejected by Vegas's younger players until everyone realizes how high you get from Lipitor when you snort it.
It's true.
They're taking over the town. And if you've ever been in Vegas when 4 wild and crazy guys take over the town, then you know it's little more than a bunch of drunk guys being obnoxious at the craps table next to you.
John Turteltaub was named director of the movie when the producers felt it didn't have enough of a National Treasure Mighty Ducks 3 Ninjas feel.
And I ask you, where is the female version of this movie? The women of Bridesmaids got derailed, so I'd like to see an old group of women go to Sin City. Mary Steenburgen is the oldest actress in this film, and she's only 60.
You got to have Catherine O'Hara in the film to be like the old women who pull off a heist.
Right?
You got to have her and Goldie Hawn.
In a truly fictional turn of events, the 4 friends leave Las Vegas closer and more trusting of one another than when they arrived.
Yeah, I've never left Vegas that way with anybody.
No, that is total Hollywood.
That's most trips home from Vegas is a very quiet white knuckle ride home, just kind of looking at the guy out of the corner of your eye, like, okay.
And then about a half hour in the drive, you go, I'm sorry.
You're gonna keep your mouth shut, right? Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Ken, have you ever played Vegas? You're a stand-up comedian.
I have never performed there. No.
Is it a dream of yours?
No, not particularly. Well,
really.
actually, I did, one time I went to Vegas. I did. I pretended I ran out of money, and I pretended I was a doorman opening up the door for people and just saying "Welcome to the Bellagio," but I was outside of Caesar's Palace at the time. That's the only performance I've ever done in Vegas, and it was a lot.
You earned $300.
I earned a couple of bucks. Yeah,
you don't have to be booked to have a performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
it was a sad, very sad street art kind of thing.
Most people walking in were probably too drunk to know they weren't at the Bellagio anyway. They're like, here's $5.
Make art
kid.
wherever you go.
Adam, you started us down a good path. Who
Yeah.
else should be in this old ladies go to Vegas movie?
I do think the
Annette
Goldie
Bening.
Hawn's a good idea. Annette
Oh, yeah.
Benning, sure.
Bette Midler, maybe.
Sure, she'd be great.
Maybe
She could
Lily
be
Tomlin?
No, she's bitchy.
If you want to ruin it,
You want
put
someone
Barbara
fun.
Streisand in it.
Oh,
She
she,
would
wouldn't
ruin
go
it.
to Vegas.
No, exactly.
She would
No,
not.
I like Goldie
She would only
Hawn,
go to Vegas
Catherine
from
O'Hara.
the east. What?
Goldie Hawn, Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mary
you know what?
Steenburgen.
Shelley Long.
Oh, that'd be fun. She could be
She's
the
holding up
uptight
nicely.
one.
Yes,
yeah.
she's holding up nicely.
The
Is she?
big
Yeah,
business cast,
yeah.
right? In that movie called Big Business,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
her and
No, Outrageous Fortune.
Oh,
Or
Outrageous
No, I didn't.
Ann
read-
Archer.
Ann.
What happened to Ann Archer?
Nothing says hilarious.
Big Ann Archer.
Like-
Hey, I got a
Only
little
if you-
confused here because I didn't read the
Hilarious
script
Bonnie
beforehand.
Bedelia.
So you say the women of Bridesmaids got derailed. Does that just mean they never made it to Vegas?
Yeah,
or?
they got in a plane. They didn't make it, so we still don't
didn't
have
make
that
it there,
women
right?
in Vegas movie.
Yeah.
Bridesmaids didn't go to Vegas. I didn't see that movie.
I
No,
saw it and they
Air
got
Marshal
travel. Yeah. I got to tell you, Lee and I are going to Vegas. We're going to go see Thunder from Down Under.
Yep.
I can't get Paul to see
What's
these
that?
with me, so Lee's going with me. We're going to see the other
Australian guys dancing.
There's another strippy show. We should go see Jamie. Jamie got married in Vegas. I didn't get to see any naked men.
Did
there.
you? Did you go kitschy?
It's all
Did
disappointment.
you get like a kitschy one of the little chapel things?
Excalibur.
It was
with knights
awesome.
and-
Well, the reason Karen's taking
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
because it's the same reason you take a hot chick to a regular strip club. You get all the attention when you take a woman to a traditional strip. So
Yeah.
I'm actually flattered that Karen wants to take me to the Chippendales Thunder from Down Under version because they're going to be all over me.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to bring
Look at
gay
these
men in
cheekbones.
there.
Come on.
So I'll bring this one.
Yeah.
Who sort of looks heterosexual.
Have fun.
What, Paul? You don't want to join us?
Actually, you know what I want to do? Let's check in with those movie scholars
Oh,
again.
no. Do we have to?
I don't know if they've moved on to talking about Las Vegas like we have. Let's check
that
in.
would be interesting.
Maison Scène.
No.
Diegetic music.
Non-diegetic music. Oh, they're headed down a path.
Aperture.
Indeed. Oh, it's auteur.
They're just saying words.
They're just saying fancy words. Oh.
A's production code.
Well, I hope we don't end up there at the end of this.
Just listening to them again, I can smell the cheese.
Antonioni.
Hitchcockian.
Yeah, enough of those guys. All right, get out of
Those
here.
guys.
Scholars.
That's craziness.
Rat Pack. What do you have written here? The fanny pack? Who's the fanny? The Rat Pack, the Brat Pack, and who's the fanny pack?
That would be the old guys.
I guess
The
that
old
is the old
guys.
guys,
The
right?
old guys
the fanny
would be
pack.
the fanny pack. Well, Karen said that you got De Niro, he's Sinatra, right?
Yeah.
You got Douglas, he's Dean
Morgan
Martin.
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman is Sammy
As
Davis
Sammy
Jr.
Davis Jr.
Kevin Kline is Joey Bishop. You know, they play it right. They could end the movie Las Vegas by opening up at one of the clubs.
I
don't want to
thought
give them an
that-
ending, a week before they open. But
I
there's
just
your
don't
ending.
think I just don't think Kevin Kline fits into this.
I don't either.
He doesn't look or feel.
He shouldn't be playing fuddy-duddy just quite yet.
Exactly.
Maybe in a
Yes.
year.
No, he's the one with the Lipitor
He's
joke
the
in the trailer.
January
Oh,
man.
that's not right. When Tommy Lee Jones was a space cowboy, I had issues too. It's like, dude, 7 years ago you were chasing Richard Kimball.
I do
You
want to
can't
bring
be old like Eastwood yet.
I do want to bring this up because there's actually another movie called Last Vegas that's coming out that has a very different trailer that Adam showed us today.
What?
That trailer you sent out for Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah,
the
there's
same movie.
Well,
it's the same movie, but
okay,
that's the
thing. They released
the
2
movie I wanna
trailers for
see.
each of these, and we usually watch the very first one when we start writing the shows. But when it comes down to like a week before it coming out, they release a whole second trailer.
Oh.
We discussed the second trailer for another movie, but this other one is actually funny.
It makes me want to see the movie.
Oh, well, why did they put that out first?
I don't know.
There's a hilarious moment where Morgan Freeman, like, he gets a call from the other guys, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to do this. I got to take a handful of pills and all that stuff." And you see him sneaking out his window, and he's like, "Okay," and you think he's like on this high up window,
It's
and
a low angle
cuts to
shot.
the wide shot, and he's like a foot off the ground. It's funny. It's like, I don't know.
And there's this whole other dynamic where they don't actually get along. Like De Niro has got a beef with the rest of them, and he's
Yeah.
got to be convinced to come out with them, and
Have
then
some ground
kinda
to cover.
soothe old wounds, and
That kind of stuff was fun in World's End.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of sounds like that. And then he gets pushed in the pool. Remember when Michael Douglas pushed
Somebody-
in the pool?
oh, you gotta get
Michael
pushed in the
Douglas
pool.
gets pushed in the pool, and he's wearing a really nice suit, and then he gets pushed.
It's crazy. Yeah.
As soon as you see the pool, you know it's
when
coming.
he gets pushed, oh, man.
I gotta tell you, I do not know how to swim. So anytime I see something in a movie where someone is pushed in a pool, I immediately go, I couldn't play that
Wait
part.
a minute.
I couldn't play that part.
You don't
I
know how
can't
to
play
swim?
the part of a guy who's 50 either, but I go, I can't play that part.
I'm gonna toss.
I could never be pushed in a pool.
You don't know how to swim.
No, I said that
Karen
right here on
Volpe.
the movie guys.
Really?
I know how to doggy paddle, but I've never been pushed in a pool.
You can't do an Olympic swim.
Oh no, I would do an Olympic dive. Is what I would do.
I am.
I'm going to toss random questions to Ken. Ken, do you know how to swim?
I do know how to swim.
All right, let's get on to our next movie. Let's talk turkey, about kicking off the family film juggernaut that is the holiday season. Finally, the most shouted word in quiet moments at concerts gets its own movie. Yes, it's called Freebirds. Lee. Freebirds is the latest film to be named after a Lynyrd Skynyrd song. Will it be as successful as 2002's Sweet Home Alabama or 2006's That Smell? We can only venture a guess.
Freebirds tells the story of 2 turkeys who travel back in time to rescue the turkey race for decades to come by convincing Sarah Connor to try tofurkey instead of turkey.
Yes. At least, I hope it's about
Terminator
That
reference.
would be awesome.
Shouldn't turkeys that are smart enough to invent time travel be able to come up with a better idea than killing pilgrims to stop turkeys from being eaten on Thanksgiving?
And what's to be made of the portrayal of turkeys with their own use of time travel for purely selfish purposes, never bothering to save, well, yams or cranberries from being smashed for centuries to come, or warning Indians about society adopting them for sports mascots, or even bothering to stop off in 1977 to warn Lynyrd Skynyrd about boarding that plane.
The tagline for this movie is "Hang on to your nuggets." Even though nuggets is more of a reference to chicken, chickens and turkeys are still both birds, so the filmmakers are hoping you won't notice that. And that you won't notice that Lightning McQueen is the voice of one of the turkeys.
Balls. I think it refers to balls.
Woody Harrelson voices one of the other cartoon turkeys, with the filmmakers missing a more appropriate chance to have him voice baked stuffing.
Nice.
The National Pork Association would like to remind you that it's perfectly okay to eat turkey this Thanksgiving and every Thanksgiving.
Yummy.
I think Roosevelt has to tell us whether or not it's okay to eat turkey.
Well, I got to be honest with
That
you.
seems like your thing.
That is the
he's a
absolute
hunter.
appropriate amount of time we should have given to that.
That we did.
That is the first time we've actually given a movie like that exactly as much time as it needed.
Yeah. That's great.
Usually we got 6 pages for turkeys.
Roosevelt, you're a hunter.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to hunt? Do you like hunting turkey?
Turkeys are fine. I've actually never, personally, never killed a thing before. I mean, like a fish.
With your bare hands?
Not with my
Yeah,
bare
like
hands.
a bear. The man jumped into
bear
the
hands.
stream.
Fish?
I used a bear's hands to kill a fish. They have the claws. It's much, much easier. I don't know. You know, you see this movie. Honestly, this is the animated Thanksgiving movie that the world has been crying out for, I think.
A turkey-based one.
Yeah.
Turkey-based?
Turkey-based.
And probably, what, the
Didn't
third
even
or
mean
fourth
that.
Thanksgiving movie ever?
Just got that.
We may have had this conversation before, but
We have. There's not many, right?
Planes,
There's-
trains.
Planes, Trains,
Stuart
Home for the Holidays,
Stuart saves
Home
his
for the
family.
Holidays.
Stuart Saves His Family.
Pieces of April? Is that what
Pieces
that's
of April.
called?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Apocalypse Now.
Stop it.
That's a Christmas
now
movie.
This,
We know
that's
that.
about it, right? I mean, Avalon had a lot of Thanksgiving in it, but it's not a Thanksgiving movie.
Home for Purim.
Home for Porum. Oh, that's right.
There's no place like home for Porum.
But there aren't any songs either for Thanksgiving, are there?
Oh, yes.
Over the
river and through the woods to Grandma's house we go.
That's Thanksgiving?
I think it's a Thanksgiving song.
Yeah.
You can go to Grandma's anytime.
There's a Thanksgiving carol?
I think that's the only
I
one.
thought that was only Christmas carols. Thanksgiving carol.
Thanksgiving.
We should write
there
carols
was
for other
one.
holidays. They're so missing.
Easter?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Carol is just the Walmart jingle, isn't it? Gotta get out there in the retail environs.
I guess,
Welcome to Walmart. Have a nice day.
Ken has a good point because I think now Thanksgiving has just really kind of it's been changed from being a time you get together with your family and you're thankful to a time that you get together and you carb load for the shopping the next day. You just all eat a whole bunch of food and then at midnight you just beat up other people and try to get a TV.
Yeah, it's the day before
Isn't
the
it?
Black
Friday.
Yeah, because Thanksgiving's always a Thursday.
I need to say the Alan Collins and Gary Rossington. You know who those guys are?
No.
That's a shame.
Daytime hosts, Gary Rossington?
Alan Collins and Gary Ross. They're the guys who did the badass guitar solo in Freebird.
Oh,
Just so you know.
it's so good.
I
Well,
wanted
that
to
explains
say their
that.
names.
And are they dead?
I speak your names.
speak your
Gary, please, Gary
names.
Collins and Joe.
Gary Collins, isn't that Win
He's
Loser
the-
Draw?
he's the home show host.
Gary Rossington.
But you know what I mean. Alan Collins and Gary
Rossington.
Delabate.
Are they're dead, right? They were on the plane?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I speak their names.
Oh, and a total tangent. This is the coolest thing. If you go about maybe a quarter of a mile away from our house, you can go by the music. What's it called? The Musicology? It's a place where Randy.
Oh, Musonia.
Musonia. It's where Randy Rhoads' family had a music store, and it's
Oh.
still there exactly the same way it was built. I think back in the 20s or 30s or something. The building itself is a music school, and you can go there. And we brought a friend of ours there, and we went when they were teaching lessons. We were able to go inside. There's just Randy Rhoads stuff everywhere, and he has his room still.
The
where
guitarist for
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
I was just thinking of
Solo
it because he died in a plane crash as well, and he was very young, and
Yeah,
he's a
yeah,
great
yeah.
guitarist. So if you ever can check out
Yeah, it's something you may
Musonia,
not see if you're visiting
it's
LA.
so cool.
And looking for sites. It's a little off the beaten path here in the valley.
And
Something
it's-
cool in the valley.
something really
that
cool.
too. Is
And it's still a
worth bringing up.
functioning music store. His brother runs it.
Of course, the Admiral's Lounge, another cool place. in the
Another cool
valley.
place.
Feel free to stop by.
Exactly.
And meet Ken.
All right, well,
Ken will
let's
be here.
do that now because that's enough of what's coming out this weekend. And
Yeah, let's talk to
I
Ken.
hope you're a little bit more well misinformed. But
know I am.
Ken, let's start with the question for you that we ask everybody.
None of my answers are on here.
Uh oh. Well, you'll have to wing it. Cheat off of
What
his paper.
is your name?
We're going to do
Don't look.
improvs, as they say. Let's do improvs.
Let's do sketches
Let's
and
improv.
improv.
Improvs. You're from you were from Chicago, right? Did you move to Chicago from where?
I moved to Chicago from D.C., originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
Yes.
Did you do stand up before you got into Chicago?
I did a little bit in D.C., but mainly Chicago is where I cut my teeth.
Yeah.
Doing the stand-em ups.
Let's see. You won the Andy Kaufman Award. When did you win that?
That is a typo. I came in second place. Second place.
Andy Kaufman would
which
probably
is-
like that you came in second place.
You know what? It's a funnier place to come in.
Yeah.
I've come in second place in almost every comedy contest I've been in, which I think is a good.
What is the Andy
You're
Kaufman
consistent.
Consistent.
It's sort of like a weird comedy.
Who gives the Andy
contest.
Kaufman Award?
His former friend, well, not former friend, I guess friend. I mean, I don't know. Do friends
Get it from
stay
Zmuda?
friends?
Did Zmuda give it to you?
No,
Zmuda
no.
involved?
Zmuda is not involved in it for some reason, but it's his old friend and his family are also involved in it. His brother and his father are also sort of part of the selecting panel. So
Was that the year that Robert Buscemi sent out the email that he'd won? Wasn't there something that Buscemi had faked that he'd won as like a stunt?
I
one
don't
year?
remember that.
I thought I heard that on his interview with Pete Holmes that they talked about that. That's the first time I'd heard about it.
I don't know.
Yeah, he could come on and.
Yeah, this
represent himself, I
podcast
suppose.
right now is the only one I've ever listened to, so I can't
Oh,
really
whoops.
reference other-
Okay.
He's loyal.
Excellent.
That's loyalty.
And you know what?
I mean, this
And-
episode.
Exactly. Right.
As
Sitting
it's
right
being
now.
recorded.
Yes.
Since 50 minutes ago.
No, it's just like an award celebrating weird comedic acts and
But
and that
who
sort of thing.
who issues it? The family? The
Yes,
Kaufman
the family, and
Wow.
they do it at Caroline. So Caroline's Comedy Club in New York has.
How do I get into the running?
You just submit.
Oh,
I think it already happened, or maybe it's the
You gotta be
beginning of
weird, right?
November. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
they're
Lee's
sort of
weird.
look for-
What's weirder than giving the award to a guy who's never done stand up?
You
That's
don't
bad
have to have
stuff.
done it.
Pretty
Some people,
weird.
some the guy won a couple years ago. He did like a video
Yeah.
submission. So yeah, Nick Vatterott won it one year. I lost my year to Reggie Watts.
Oh,
so
Reggie Watts,
in
big name.
Very good company, I guess.
Ken, I have a question for you,
Yes,
because
please.
a lot of us get into comedy because we're weird and we're trying to impress our
'Cause we need
family
attention.
and we need attention.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any relatives or anything just that uncle that was super friggin' funny and you wanted to impress him, or was there a thing that made you go, you know what, I'm going to be funny?
I think in my family, my dad was the funny guy. My mom loves all of my comedy, but gets none of it whatsoever.
That's the perfect person.
Yeah. But my dad was like the weird, funny guy. You know, he had just used strange words that I've adopted and changed and stuff. So that's, I think, where I got my first love of comedy was just through him being weird and us making strange music videos as children and that sort of thing. But like as far as professionally, I loved Andy Kaufman. He's a big influence of mine, and Steve Martin, his old stand-up, I loved. I used
Very
to have his
absurdist, right?
records, and yeah, he was before he was pumping out all those cheaper by the dozens. He was really
He was the
doing
man.
amazing work that nobody
Do you
had done
have,
before.
the cheaper by the dozens and Bringing Down the House. Some of
And-
his biggest and Pink Panther was some of his biggest box office.
Yes.
And that always
Sad.
kind of like made me go, oh, come on.
Kid comedy, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But
he also made The Jerk, so
Yeah.
He also made The Jerk.
Well, I mean, made
And the
But
Man
he
with Two
also-
Brains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't make as much money, and that always made me go, I wish, but
Does everyone here have a Steve Martin album memorized? Let's Get Small, I completely have memorized.
I think I have Wild and Crazy Guy.
Yeah.
memorized.
I have
Wild and Crazy
pieces
Guy.
from them.
But I have Let's Get Small on album, so I'm kind of excited by that.
You're the one that, you're the first time I ever found the Steve Martin Brothers was Paul Preston. You ever heard the Steve Martin Brothers, the legendary fourth album? That's side one is all outtakes from the first three albums, and side two is all banjo.
Really?
You ever heard of that?
Yeah. It's a great
He only
bit.
did three albums, and then that released that fourth one called the Steve Martin Brothers.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard that, was Paul had it in his collection.
It has a great bit where he comes out on stage and he just is a total asshole
Yeah.
for like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then he kind of goes, all right. And then he goes into his routine. He never explains it or anything. He just comes out and goes, well, good evening, motherfuckers. You know, and he just starts this whole thing. You tell the audience is kind of shocked. He's like, I go down to the goddamn fucking comedy store and steal material from the new comics and nobody cares. I take it on the Tonight Show and I'm so fucking great and fuck you. And everyone's like, what? And he just goes on with his routine.
You know, we had a couple weeks ago, we had Kristen Studdard on, and I found out that she got her start from a Steve Gadlin thing called Impress These Apes. Were you involved in Impress These Apes? Because you were involved in Don't Spit the Water, which was a
Yes.
Steve Gadlin.
Yes, I was involved in Impress These Apes. It was after Kristen had won the little contest. Well, I'll call it a little contest. to be as,
Were you one of the
pejorative.
apes at all?
I was not. I hosted it after Dan Telfer and Jared Logan were the original two hosts and co-hosts, and then after they moved on, then myself and Jim Fath were the hosts and co-hosts. So yeah, it was a fun time, but I was before Kristen. But it was a very weird, as are a lot of Steve Gadlin productions,
Yeah.
just strange, sort of like pulled two ideas and put them together and made it work with a lot of
Yeah,
weird
right now he's doing a
love.
talent search called Star Makers.
Steve Gadlin Star Makers.
Steve Gadlin
yeah,
Star
look it up
Makers.
on YouTube. They're getting some traction on Reddit because he is just trying to make the weirdest YouTube clips.
It's
And they're
amazing, yeah.
succeeding because he's just normal people. Some normal people, some comedians pretending to be normal people and just being super weird.
Which is perfect. I mean, that's what the internet is around now. You know, you find something has been faked, and you're like, I give him a bigger applause when I find out I was fooled by a
Right.
video. Like,
Yeah.
this has got to be fake, and
Like
then it is, and you're like, oh well, awesome, great, yeah.
Like the lady who talks about her cat when she's doing the video for a dating site. That's fake.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
It's like a dating video submission.
You don't think it's fake.
That's
it's so
fake.
good,
Yeah.
but it's fake.
I've
But
seen
she's
that, like-
wonderful.
I've seen that. I thought it was real.
She just starts crying because she loves her cat so much, and you just are like, we will never date
the
her.
Oscar goes too.
She's really good.
Absolute. Wow.
Hey, let me jump back to movies for a second because
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
want
that's
to
right.
escape without asking you what we ask
right.
all our guests.
Okay.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
A favorite movie I've had to pick, I would say Rocky.
Oh,
Rocky,
sweet.
my favorite.
Can't go wrong.
Favorite movie.
That is not a wrong answer.
Close second, Groundhog Day.
Yes!
Oh, that's
Woo!
I gotta
High five right here,
have
little
the,
that.
have the yin and the yang, you know.
Huh? Wait. Oh, I don't have Groundhog Day on here, but
others.
all the
Okay.
Bill Murrays.
There you go.
I had a
can-
roommate
you can
who
stay.
revealed to me that is a more perfect film than people realize when you watch that film. There is nothing out of place in that film. It's
Except
really
I should be playing the
exceptional.
Andy McDowell role.
Well.
That's the only thing out of place in my life. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a tight script. I mean, and if you like judged it as science fiction, you'd be super impressed.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it just gets greeted as a romantic comedy, and you love it.
Yeah.
But it could be some real strong sci-fi as well. It's a good movie.
And the performance aspect, I think, is something I think about as an actor,
Tell us, Ken.
occasionally working. It just the process of how just doing the same thing over and over again, how Bill Murray keeps it fresh and not fresh sometimes
and
when it doesn't.
consistent at the same time.
And it's that, and you watch him go through the discovery the first week of days. You watch him discover that he's got to react the second time and the third time and the fourth time, and that's really cool. And then at some points he's doing a performance where you're like, oh, he's lived 150 days. Like somebody did the math and realized he was stuck in that loop for like 7 years or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's one movie I would love to just have been able to watch be made and just see all of that happen.
Yeah, do you think they had the balls to do anything out of order?
I don't know.
I would be
I don't even
afraid.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, someone's there in charge of it all. Jamie, who wrote that? Groundhog Day.
You know,
Get
speaking
Jamie
of,
on that because that guy deserves a shout out.
Well,
Absolutely.
what's funny is I met that guy in Chicago at some sort of screenwriting symposium, and he revealed a couple scenes that aren't in the movie. Maybe they're in the script, but just didn't get shot. Can you plug me in there, Karen? I can't.
Yeah, there we go.
Nope, I unplugged everybody.
There was a scene where each day you see him reading and putting a book on the shelf, and then you pull back as he puts a book on the shelf to reveal that he has read thousands of books, and it sort of logs his time, this entire wall of books that he had read, but it never ended
Now,
up
did
in
that
the movie.
get cut or not shot?
I don't know. I actually don't know if that was in the script and didn't get shot or whatever, but it was kind of he said there was some very heavy things, and when you're dealing with that amount of time, it can get pretty heavy, and the movie kind of goes there. He kills himself and stuff. I mean, that's pretty serious shit. You know, jumping off the rooftop.
It's a great movie, not to discount Rocky in any way, of course.
His name's Danny Rubin.
Danny Rubin
Wrote
wrote.
Harold Ramis.
Oh,
No, well, Ramis had a hand in it.
I thought Harold wrote that.
I don't know.
They won the BAFTA for best screenplay.
Well, there you go. It won the
Danny
BAFTA.
Rubin's the guy I met, but
And did you like Rocky Balboa?
You know what? I've only seen it once in the theater, and that's the only Rocky movie. Well, I saw Rocky 3 in the theater later.
That's where I saw you at the New Beverly.
Oh, that
right?
is
That's
right.
probably the last time I saw you.
That's right. It was
I knew we had
Rocky
seen
and
each other at a screening.
Poltergeist.
Yeah, it was 1983 night.
That was
just-
that was a
yeah, that was-
fun.
oh yeah,
night.
I came in during Poltergeist there.
Yeah,
I came
For
in
folks
late.
who don't know the one of LA's best cinemas, it's the New Beverly, owned by Quentin Tarantino. Always with an eclectic slate of re-releases and classics.
Yeah, I didn't know Quentin Tarantino owned that.
Yeah,
He owns the building. I don't think he runs the business.
Well, he
but-
saved
but-
the building.
Yeah.
from
Oh, okay.
Because
being-
they were going to toss the New Beverly out, and he bought the building and then just said, New Beverly, you're there forever. Don't worry about getting kicked out.
But also, he does a lot of programming there. He'll
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
hey, can I get to
Oh,
2
it's just
weeks? And then you'll
terrific.
see some crazy shit. in
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Django Unchained played for 2 weeks, and they're like, and you could tell like they were a little pissed because it's like nobody's coming now 2 weeks in. Like, we have to be showing Django Unchained still because Quentin's our man.
there. Yeah.
Now, what'd you think? What's the last time you seen Rocky 2, 3, 4, or 2, 4, 5?
I've seen them all multiple
Yeah.
times. Besides Rocky Balboa, I didn't like Rocky Balboa too much. It was more of like a sort of a greeting card to the characters that we know and love. But they each have their place. You know, even Rocky 5, even though the best part of Rocky 5 is the ending credits where you see all the black and white stills from each Rocky movie before it. And there's a beautiful Elton John song called "Measure of a Man."
I don't know that. Could you sing me a little?
You've come full circle, now you're home. Without the gold, without the throne. You've always been. You had to lose so you could win. And rise above your troubles while you can. Now you can love, now you can lose, now you can choose. That's the measure of a man.
All right.
Well,
Elton does it a touch better, just a touch, but worth looking up.
I like that you were kind of starting to channel Cher, and I like that.
That happens. And my second costume choice for the mustache was Sonny Bono. So I've been listening, and then again, Groundhog Day.
Could have gone Cher.
Yeah.
We would be remiss to mention Rocky without mentioning the soundtrack to 4. What's your favorite song in the Rocky 4 soundtrack? One of the greatest soundtracks of the 80s, right?
Feel free to sing it.
Oh, please.
Well, the one that's popping into my head is Hearts on Fire, but that's not my favorite. My favorite one is when he's driving.
With the Burning Heart?
No.
Is that the one?
That's my favorite because it's the only one I can think
What
of.
is it? It's killing me because I had a.
Oh, the one where he's driving through the tunnel? What is that?
Yeah, what's right after Apollo dies? It's
We all look at Jamie.
Ah, shit.
Jamie.
I feel terrible.
Research department, please.
Vince DiCola, the creator of the soundtrack to Transformers the movie, wrote all the songs with maybe Stallone's brother or something for Rocky IV.
Oh, I've seen him
Stallone
perform
has-
live. Frank.
Does a lot
and
of Sylvester
Staying
projects.
Alive.
Oh yeah.
Staying Alive.
Well, yeah,
Frank
Far
Stallone
From
wrote all
Over.
those.
Right.
Yeah. Far from over.
But the song when he's driving through the tunnel after Apollo dies, I listened to on repeat because I had a friend and I had a sort of a breaking up period, and I was like, it was before I ever had a girlfriend, but I felt the pain of losing somebody, and I would listen to that song over and over. It's a beautiful.
No easy way out.
There's no easy
way out.
There's no shortcut home. Down, down. Beautiful, like rock.
Wonderful.
Just rip your heart out kind of rock ballad.
I mean, what a great.
Yeah, and it starts, and he starts up the car. And
Yes, I mean, it totally goes with it.
Yeah, the license plate says Southpaw, but it's SOTHPAW because you can't fit all the good.
Yes, and I love the lights go up to one beat, and then then he kicks it into gear with a hand to a beat, and he's driving.
All right, let's go from some of the
editing.
Let's go from some of the best movies of all time and Rocky V.
What did you see? What did you see this week?
What did you see this week? Now I know Adam went to a big time screening, right?
Yes, this was the greatest thing. This is a forgotten classic. Now, there's one great movie made about Halloween. Now, Halloween is a great movie, but it's not actually really about Halloween. It's about Michael Myers. It takes place at Halloween. But the movie about Halloween and Halloween traditions is Trick or Treat, directed by... Have you ever seen Trick or Treat? 2007, right? I think it's 2007. And directed by... Oh, now I'm blanking on the name, but he was there, and one of the writers of X-Men 2. Shit, I forgot it. Anyway... Legendary produced the movie. Legendary, who did Superman Returns and Batman and all those things, and Robot Jocks was Pacific Rim. They put on a big screen. Now, this is a tradition for me. Every Halloween, I watch Trick or Treat, and it's very exciting. And a lot of people don't know about this, and it's a great movie. It tells 4 stories intertwined like Pulp Fiction. So you see all the other stories. Once you're in a different story, you see characters from the other stories pop in, pop out. And so Legendary did a huge screening, did up the whole entryway to the Egyptian, gave away themed treats and screen printed posters and stuff from Trick or Treat. And it was a packed crowd. I sat in front of Macaulay Culkin, and there was a great panel with Bryan Singer and the director, and Dylan Baker is in it, and who's the original Hannibal Lecter?
Brian Cox.
Brian
That's right.
Cox was there. Yeah,
that's cool.
And it was really fun to watch it with all these people that were way into it and reacting, and then they had a nice Q&A, and then they did a total stunt thing at the end where a guy came out. There's like a little pumpkin head kid who's like the crypt keeper. He shows up in between each of the stories, sort of, and then at the end he tries to kill Brian Cox. That they had someone dressed as that little kid, and he came out, and it was moderated by Seth Green. Gave Seth Green the card, and he opened it up and showed it to the audience, and it says, "Make a sequel." And he goes, "Well, I don't know. Nobody here's in charge of that. We got to wait for Thomas Tull, the president of Legendary, and ask him about it." Thomas Tull stands up. They got a light on him and everything. And he says, "Let's do it." And then they blast onto the thing, Trick or Treat 2 coming next year or whatever.
That's cool.
It was a really cool presentation.
That's fun.
I like the idea of an anthology film.
I know, right? And that's what they said, too. That's what the director said, the writer-director. He's like, I loved Creep Show and all those sort of things. And he goes, but it's a rare thing. You don't get anthology films that much. So, yeah.
You're turning me around. Well, not that I ever didn't want to see it. I just never did. But the way you've gone on about it over the last week, I'm going to go see them.
Now is the time.
And now is the time.
Trick or treat.
What I find most fascinating about that is now I know what Macaulay Culkin's doing on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was doing. There he was sitting behind me.
How did he look? Is he eating? Is he eating enough?
He's got like a goatee that's kind of scraggly. It's like, I kind of wanted to see him. It's like, shave the goatee, cut your hair a little bit. I think that would look, maybe he's trying to get too much away from the look he had when he was a kid or whatever. Yeah. And so he's got long hair and he's got a long goatee, but it's all kind of scraggly. And you're like, if you were clean cut, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't mistake him for the little kid Macaulay Culkin, but I think he could play a different sort of character. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen him in anything in a while, but I think he could play like a pricky businessman or something if he just shaved his, cleaned up a little bit.
It's been a while since he's been in something.
He was in that Party Monster a couple years.
Like
He actually kind of looked.
Party People? That one?
No, Party Monster.
Party Monster. Yeah, you're right.
He actually still kind of looks like he did in that movie. He was kind of.
That's still got to be 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Party monsters in the house tonight. Everybody's
we're sticking to 80s Rocky songs only.
Oh, sorry.
And I got to meet Dylan Baker.
Party monsters.
No.
There's that. Okay.
But it's horror movie week, so that ties into what you saw, right, Ken?
I watched Paranormal Activity 4.
Ooh.
So
diving right into the middle there.
I saw the other ones, and it just was added to the streaming thing.
Yeah.
And I liked this series as a whole. I think 3 is my favorite, but the 4th one, it doesn't have it. There's only so many times a sheet can be pulled off a sleeping person. It could be creepy.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear that 2 and 3 are good because I just watched 1 for the first time. I'm way behind in this.
Good on you. Yeah, that's a good movie.
This is the first time I watch it, and I've got 2 TiVo'd, and 3 is on Netflix as well. So
Yeah.
I figured, and
3
4.
is my favorite as well, and I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the one that takes place in the 80s? So that's maybe why I like it the most. But
sheets on fire, he's pulling them spiritually.
But the best part about the Paranormal Activity 4 is just they have shoehorned an amazing amount of wonderful product placement. Which if a movie is terrible, I want there to be so much product placement to just count things. It's just like, the ghost is moving bags of pop chips and 6 packs of Pepsi around. So that is the best part of Paranormal Activity. The ghost is now completely capitalist and just bought into the system.
Someone has blown out our scented candle from
Candle
Our
Wars.
Glade scented candles
Glade
seems to have been
scented
extinguished.
There's a scene. This is back in '84 when product placement wasn't as obvious. There's a scene in Ghostbusters whenever Bill Murray goes over to the refrigerator and he opens it up and he goes, "Oh my God!" And she's like, "What? Do you see something?" He's like, "You eat this junk?"
Yeah.
And he says that. But then in the perfectly placed is a can of Coca-Cola. And I wonder if they would allow that today. Like if he could open it up. Look at all the junk food. And there's Coca-Cola right there.
Yeah.
Do you remember when movies would have to disguise product brands?
Oh, yeah. They would make it into a
turn the
different
label,
thing.
right?
Uh-huh.
We wouldn't want our product shown in a movie. And then when Reese's Pieces was in E.T., that was like earth-shattering marketing ploy. Like, wait a second, you can't put real products in a movie.
Although I remember there was a big furor, which I didn't get when I was a kid, because in Superman 2, what year did that come out? When they fight the Zod and Non.
Yeah,
and
it had to be like 79 or
is
something.
that 79, 80, maybe?
82.
I mean, I might be.
Oh, yeah?
That might be, yeah. But they throw Zod into a Coca-Cola sign, and they throw Superman into a Marlboro truck. A fucking cigarette truck. I mean, that is the worst taste imaginable. But I didn't really catch it as a kid.
Well, when you
I was
combine
like,
the
I
two,
don't know.
they're horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Kim, let's get on to the segment we like to do with our guests. A little something called...
5. Haha, said 5. What? Yeah, 5. Haha, question for other guests.
Yeah. It's 5 questions for other guests.
We're a real show because we have theme songs,
Yeah,
Ken.
exactly.
Did you catch that?
I love it.
So Ken is here now to answer these questions meant for other guests, but
They didn't
they'll
show up.
be,
Yeah.
They'll be put to you.
Okay.
They're still parking, so you're here.
Yeah, so if you wouldn't mind answering them.
I don't know. I don't know. How can they not find parking? It's wonderful out here in the valley.
Burbank.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ken, you've beaten men.
Mm-hmm.
You've beaten famous women. When you get out of rehab, who will you beat next?
I'd like to say my demons, but after seeing that Paranormal Activity movie, it looks harder than it should be.
Demons will put up a fight.
Yeah. That said, buy Xbox Connect.
You'll beat who?
The video game. Buy Xbox.
Oh, I see.
Buy the new Xbox.
Okay.
Buy it.
You're just product placing.
Just placing it right in there.
All right.
And then you will beat who with your Xbox Connect?
Doesn't matter.
Anybody.
Sure, boxing
Third quarter gains, Adam.
Point it's all our listeners have
I don't
purchased
know
one.
what quarter it is.
I can't take this from Teddy Roosevelt.
Ken, I actually have a question for you. Well, not for you, but for another guest.
But might as well ask him.
How do you subdue Somali pirates?
Well, I did actually hear an NPR. I heard an NPR they've been using a lot of Britney Spears.
Another high five right here.
Sound cannon.
Sound cannon.
Yes, that's why I brought that
Is that
up.
what you call your penis too? The sound cannon?
Sound cannon.
Britney Spears TM sound cannon right here.
Patent pending.
Hearts on
fire.
Shit.
They They could just use they just use the music from Rocky, and they could just.
I don't know. They would. That would be like a siren thing where they'd come towards the boat and then crash into it.
They would get excited. They'd be like, yeah. I mean,
they said they were using "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time."
Right. I like that there was also a moral thing about using Britney Spears, because a lot of Somali pirates are very religious, and Britney Spears stands for, I guess,
sexuality,
slutty American sex. So that was the besides it hurting making their eardrums bleed, they also sort of want to dig at the Muslims.
Crush their moral center.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like all the people that got in trouble for torturing all the prisoners in wherever all the soldiers, the pictures and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Guantanamo.
They would stick things in their butts, not
Abu
only because
Ghraib.
that's gross, but because that's against their religion too.
Wow.
It's against my religion. I don't really have one.
That's against both of their religions.
This whole war business seems pretty filthy.
Hey, wait a second.
Hey, Ken, I have a question for you. How is your Tonight Show going to be different?
I think it'll be different in that almost no one will see it, probably. And not even my mom, because she can't open videos. She can't open YouTubes. So
Will you broadcast in Vegas like your doorman?
That would be
bit?
nice. Yeah, sort of. Yes, a live
again where
Vegas
nobody
street,
knows it's going on.
Sort of right in front of all of the fountains when the Bellagio fountains are going, so no one pays attention at all.
That'll be good for sound issues. That'll
Exactly.
be nice.
Just a lot of spraying hoses.
Now, Ken, of all the world leaders you've spied on, who has had the sexiest phone calls?
That's a really such a good question.
Yeah, I mean, we try and press the probing question. We probe the pressing questions too.
I mean, listen to Bill
Second
Clinton.
part of the show.
Listen to Bill Clinton on the telephone. It's like pouring honey into your ear.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right. But Condoleezza Rice, she's got a husky kind of smoky kind of.
Will take charge, right?
You can sort of just see, how prominent her teeth are, and just
She just grab you by the back of the neck, right?
Absolutely, she's a strong-voiced woman.
Yeah, broad-shouldered.
Hey, Paul, can you give us a little Clinton on the phone being sexy?
Oh, hey, sure. I'd like.
Can Bill Clinton sing "Hearts on Fire"?
He can.
Hearts on fire. Pepperoni pizza.
Spot on. You got to start with a food word with Clinton. That makes it so much easier.
Interesting that we talked about the world leaders you're spying on, and you immediately went to Americans. That's telling. People will catch you.
You have
spying
not.
on
You have
the United States.
You have not seen our YouTube channel until you've seen Bill Clinton dressed up as Indiana Jones singing "Hearts on Fire" from Rocky IV. I just want to say that.
All he knew was the title. Final question for you, Ken. Yes. Based on the success of your Halloween costume this year, what blackface character will you be next year?
I feel like Samuel L. Jackson would be kind of trite. So I'll go with the guy from Lethal Weapon, whose name I forget. Danny Glover. Danny Glover. Yeah, I'd say Danny Glover.
All you have to do is just keep going, Riggs.
Yeah. And I will get the back of my neck this year. I know that's the most offensive thing about blackface is when you don't get the back of my neck. You gotta commit. You gotta commit
and
to
then
the
they can
bet.
tell. Perhaps they may not have even known.
That's how they catch you. That's how they catch you.
Get the back of the neck.
Hey, wait a second.
All right, now in the interest of going big or going home, let's go out big with another edition of Karen's weekly celebration of the birthdays of those who make the movies. Karen.
Let's start off our birthday celebration this week by wishing a happy birthday to my favorite female Ghostbuster, Annie Potts. Annie turns 61 but can play anywhere from receptionist for the Ghostbusters to Bo Peep. Did you know that right after graduating from college, Annie had a terrible car accident and broke every bone in her body from the waist down?
What?
Except her left femur. She was 21 years old.
Lord.
She was driving with her husband at the time, and she was on a back street in Arizona, something like that. It was just beginning to rain, and these three guys, they went up over the hill. These three guys were racing, all of them in the road coming at them. Three of them were all side by side in these pickup trucks, and they hit them head on, and she flew through the windshield onto the road, and this was all revealed in a celebrity. Buckle up for sure. Her husband tried to hold her back, but of course that move never works.
Ooh, the reach
never works. He managed to live as well, but she broke all those bones except her left femur. And she said, and this I thought was so interesting, is she said that as she was lying on the road, she started to feel very light, of course, because she's probably starting to pass out. But then she started to realize that she said, "Oh my God, I think I am now dying." And she had that realization, and she had to make a choice between going towards the light and dying, or staying with us to be able to be in the Ghostbusters movies. And that makes me really excited because I think she made the right choice.
One of the best left femurs in the business. That's why they say that about her.
Annie Hots, as I like to call her.
Annie Hots, yes.
Ghostbusters, what do
Spunky.
you want?
All right, next up is our birthday boy, Richard Dreyfuss, who turned 66, but can play anywhere from a fussy and arrogant prick in the movies to a fussy and arrogant prick in real life, from what I've seen on Wikipedia.
Ooh, Paul does a good...
Do you have a Dreyfuss?
Sing Hearts on Fire.
Hearts on fire, Bob. Hearts on...
At one time, he was the youngest actor to ever win the coveted Best Actor Oscar for... Anybody?
Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz.
Best Oscar?
No.
Best Oscar?
The Goodbye Girl.
The Goodbye Girl at age 29.
Little Richie Dreyfuss.
Little Richie Dreyfuss, 29 years old.
Don't
Too
wait
much.
for me.
Don't wait for me.
They're all going to die.
They said too much too soon. He fell into the trap of cocaine, booze, and pills.
What? Whoa.
That's a great
Richard
combo.
Dreyfuss was strung out?
Yes,
Who
can you
knows?
believe it? But he recovered enough to give us Down and Out in Beverly Hills, Stakeout, and the great What About Bob?
Down and Out. I have not
That's
thought
when-
about that movie in
Yeah,
years.
That's a
Big
great
hit.
movie.
Not thought about.
That movie is not thought about.
When you think of Nick Nolte?
What About Bob right here? This is
Oh,
it.
Bob.
Rather work mornings?
Paul and I have a little corgi that we rescued, and his name was originally Teddy, much like Teddy Roosevelt. But we changed it to Dr. Leo Marvin because when our dog is making he gets excited or sad or scared, he makes that noise. And so that's why we call him Dr. Leo Marvin.
I also love, Paul, you said that you just wanted to name a dog something with a official
Title.
title, designated doctor,
Senator,
senator.
Archbishop.
Yes. We realized later that
Your Honor.
we would like to name our next dog Petty Officer Pancake. We think that'd be fun.
Your Honor, Your Honor.
First Officer, Petty Officer Pancake. And then I also want to let you know that Julie Louis-Dreyfus is indeed related to Richard Dreyfuss. So isn't that fun to know? Distant. But
Yeah, it's always fun to find out that there's more nepotism in Hollywood than I thought. Thanks, honey. That was fun.
And lastly, let's wish a happy birthday to one of my favorite actresses of all time, Julia Roberts, who turns 46. And I ask you, how is that possible? How can she be she shouldn't be allowed to be 46. Anyway, she turns 46, but can play anywhere
Seems
from...
young.
Good,
I
thank
thought
you.
she was older.
Yeah.
No, shut up.
6 years old?
Not based on looks, but
Oh,
just
all
based
right.
on how long she's been around me.
Yeah, right?
I know, forever. That
Yeah.
big smile staring at you.
Should have brought her tonight.
I wish I could have. Anyway, Julie turns 46. Can play anywhere from a high-priced prostitute and pretty woman to... I love that. That makes me laugh every time I hear her laugh. To one of the highest-paid actresses in the world. In a weird way, it's kind of the same thing.
She was the first $20 million actress,
Very
right?
similar.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And made a shit ton of money with Pretty Woman. Put her on the... It's just
She
so-
probably didn't get paid much for that, but boy, she was paid for
everything else. One of my favorite things about Julia Roberts is that she had the good sense and taste to marry one of my favorite people, Lyle Lovett. Now...
Weird.
I think they eventually, as we all know, divorced. But I really give her a lot of credit for knowing that she looked at Lyle, who's I think he's adorable, but most would say unconventional good looks. And she said, I don't care. I'm going to have sex with that guy. And I give her credit for that. So I have devised a little game that we can play for all of us. It's a game where we decide if the person I name is Julia Roberts' co-star or just my boyfriend. That's awesome. So how it's played is, for example, I will say Kiefer Sutherland, and you think to yourself, is that Karen's boyfriend or is that her co-star or both? So
Co-star.
Wait.
Co-star. Yes.
Flatliners, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, her boyfriend or your boyfriend?
My boyfriend.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have boyfriend list, which Julia Roberts has either worked with or slept with. It's very
She didn't
exciting
sleep
for me.
with Kiefer?
Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So she's her.
So boyfriend.
He's her boyfriend, your boyfriend, and her co-star.
Yes, you win. Okay, you got that one. How about
All of 'em.
Hugh Grant?
That's a trifecta.
Co-star.
They boink?
Only.
They boinked.
Well, that's because you don't know me. I love Hugh Grant. I would boink him too.
Okay.
All right, but you're very close.
On to the
All right,
lightning
good
round,
one.
Ken.
All right, Colin Firth. Colin Firth.
They did not work together.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
Is it my boyfriend?
It's your boyfriend.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Chris Cooper.
They're in August Osage County.
You cheated. They hasn't come
You've
out
told us
yet.
all about it.
I love it.
Cheating.
It's so good. And
he's not.
And he's your boyfriend.
And he's my boyfriend.
He is?
Because of August Osage County. And Robert Downey.
No, because he's got hair.
He's
the guy with the hair.
Yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr.
No, your
Well, that's your boyfriend.
Right?
Marrying man.
Were they in a movie together?
No.
Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
I want to say yes, even though I don't know for sure what.
Back in the day, like
No, they weren't. But that was just a trick
Pizza,
question.
maybe.
All right, Liam
Matt Damon was in
Neeson.
Mystic Pizza, maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
He was in the closet just
You
hanging
have
out.
Roosevelt's exact smile when you smile.
Isn't that nice?
Look at that. That's uncanny.
Mouth open, eyes closed.
And now those are only two more. Liam Neeson.
Boyfriend, no co-star.
Co-star in what movie?
Jamie chiming in.
It was the John Grisham movie.
No.
Oh, Pelican Brief? No.
No. It's a really bad movie, but it's a great movie.
Pelican Brief?
Oh no, I thought you meant the one.
Darkman.
It stars Michael Keaton's sister.
Oh, of course.
Julia
her.
Keaton?
What's her face?
Michael Keaton has
not
a
Michael
sister?
Keaton,
Diane
the
Keaton?
character.
Yeah, Steve Keaton is his sister.
Oh, Satisfaction. What's her name? Mallory.
Mick Jagger.
Alex P. Keaton. Sorry. And lastly,
This whole thing is a sham.
Benjamin
It's a sham
Bratt.
of a travesty of a...
I want the Honorable Fido to come in here and put an end to this
All
monster.
right, the last of this is Benjamin Bratt. Have they been in a movie together, and is he my boyfriend?
All three.
None of the above.
Who's Benjamin Bratt?
Poor Ken. You just got to come on the show more often.
Wait, they didn't date at all?
They dated.
Miss
But
Congeniality.
they weren't in a movie together. But they dated, and he did TV, and she appeared on one of his TV shows.
So that doesn't.
And,
he's not your boyfriend.
and he's not my boyfriend. Poor Benjamin.
Better
All
luck
right,
next
maybe
time,
next.
buddy.
Yep.
Yes. Boy, that just made me sweat thinking about all that. Those guys.
She's wet.
Yeah.
All right, well, that wraps another movie showcast,
Ken,
everybody.
where will people be able to see you? Plugs?
I do a show every other Tuesday called Graceland at a Mexican place called Milo in Silver Lake. It's a fun little room. Different comedians every other week, every other Tuesday. Graceland.
And you're at Ken Barnard on Twitter?
At Ken Barnard. Barnard with all A's, just like your report card.
And if people keep a close eye out on Tosh.0, they might catch you getting Mexican condiments sprayed all over you?
Yes, humiliated, tortured, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you were one of the tortured masses on Tosh, right?
Yep, let's keep the numbers up, y'all. 18 to 24.
All right, together we are the Movie Guys. Individually we are.
Yeah,
The Guys.
right.
And follow us as well on Twitter at The Movie Guys and Facebook at facebook.com/The Movie Guys, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Vine, Instagram, Google+, LinkedIn, all that shit. Thanks to Jamie Clark Yelvington in charge of watching the board and key gripping. And of course, Steve Scholes for his writing contributions to the show every week. And remember, you can always find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net. And do like Ken, make this the only podcast you listen to.
Just this episode.
Thanks for listening.
Honey, do the laugh.
Now, in a very Halloween turn of events, Paul and Karen are going to go see The Shining.
Oh, off we go. We'll have a full report next week.
Yeah.